All right. Welcome, everyone. We're going to let some people come in while we have a good amount of people coming in here today. So I'm stoked on that. I'm Rich Fettke, as you probably know. I'm the co-founder of RealWealth. So super happy that you're here today. This is the Focused Investor Part 1, which is all about completing your 2021, completing your year, wrapping it up. And maybe this is your first time here experiencing this. Maybe this is the 15th year that I've done the Focused Investor for RealWealth. So super stoked on that. Glad you're here. And if it's the 15th time you've been through this, then that's great too. Or the 5th time, it doesn't matter, because we keep changing, we keep growing, we keep evolving. We have new goals. We get to new levels of real wealth, new levels of financial freedom, new levels of self-awareness. So let's see where you are this year and how to wrap things up. So let's take a look at this. So, okay, so I'm gonna shut my webcam off here. I just wanted to say hi to everyone. So I'm gonna shut this off and go right over to my slides. So good to see y'all. Okay, move my mouse out of the way here. Okay, so the Focused Investor Part 1. Hopefully you have some paper and a pen to write with, or you're gonna do this on your laptop and be typing away. But you will be taking a bunch of notes today because this is all about you. This is all about wrapping up your year and really preparing for 2022. Looking back, today we're going to look at what worked about your year, what didn't work, what did you learn, how did you grow, how do you expand your real wealth, how did you improve your net worth, how did you improve your cash flow. We're going to be looking at a lot of cool stuff today. And most of our webinars at Real Wealth are focused on the how-tos of real estate investing and the different markets and the economy. And this webinar is a little bit different that we do each year. So you're a member. Since you're a member of Real Wealth, I don't have to go over all those benefits of real estate investing. And we all know that owning hard assets that bring cash flow and the great tax benefits and all that great stuff. But we know that real estate is a great way to create real wealth, which is simply having the money and the freedom to live life on your own terms, right? So this is about stepping back and looking at you and how you operate and how you can create more real wealth in your life. So you have the money and the freedom to live life on your own terms. So let's dive right in. Let's see if I can get my clicker to work. There we go. And we always have a disclaimer. This one's a little bit different. Usually it's about liability with real estate. This is the strategies mentioned in this presentation may not be appropriate for everyone. These strategies are only appropriate if you have a strong desire to grow, improve, and be a more focused investor. Your past performance is no guarantee of future results. While every effort is made to design and create a life of abundance and happiness, the possibility of changes, challenges, mess-ups, and failures always exists. However, I believe that you don't want to settle for a lame, boring life. You want to kick ass and get the most out of this life. So that's why we're here. So let's do this. So there's our disclaimer. Let's dive right in. We talked about real wealth. What we have seen, I'm sure you have seen it too, is that some people are so poor that all they have is money. So we don't want to be that grouchy, grumpy person who's got a lot of money, but their life is not fulfilling. They don't have the freedom to live life on their own terms and do what they want with the people they want to be with and enjoy every moment. We want to have a different thing. So that's what real wealth is all about. So think about that for you, and you probably have. What is real wealth for you? Is it time with your family? Is it having that awesome house? Is it giving back and contributing? What is it for you? Maybe even write it down. Real wealth to me is, and what comes to mind first? Let's see what do you really value? So thinking about that, what is real wealth for you? Having the mindset is the key for creating that real wealth. An open mind collects more riches than an open purse. So I'm going to ask you to have an open mind today, to step back and look in both this webinar and the one that I'll do on December 30th, which will be all about setting your intentions for 2022 and looking at the year ahead and into the future. But here's what I don't want. I don't want this to be you. All right. So you got to get our heads out of that place. We got to get our heads in the right place. We don't want to be closed off. We want to have an open mind. So I'm asking you to do that today. Let's jump right in. Here's my goal for today, is to help you gain clarity, awareness, and learn from the past year of your life. so you can experience even more fulfillment and real wealth in 22 and beyond. So that's my goal with this program. It's been my goal with this program for the last 15 years. And this is why. Here's the problem. Life is busy, right? We're all so busy. There's so much on our plates. And what happens is we often put off what really matters. We don't step back to really look at, how is my life going? These different areas of my life, my career, my finances, my relationship, my spirituality, my health and fitness. How are those things going? We don't step back to really take a look. So now today, we're going to do that. We're going to step back and take that bookend 2021, and look at what worked and what didn't. And we also don't realize what matters until it's too late. Whether it be the relationship we didn't take care of, we find out it's too late. Whether it's our health that we didn't take care of, or maybe if it's even our finances that we didn't step back, or maybe it's even tax planning. So often we don't do that. So it's going to be a different story today. I'm going to step back and do it before the end of the year instead of reeling at the end of the year. Because this is the bottom line of today. What you focus on becomes your reality. So we're going to really take a look at today. What you focus on becomes your reality. So what are you focusing on? What have you been focusing on? We're going to look at that today. I was a coach for about 15 years before we started RealWealth, and I would guide my clients through this process. This is the basic coaching process, envisioning what you want for the year, for the future. We're going to do that on December 30th this year in the Focused Investor Part 2. And then from there, you come up with a strategy and a game plan. After the strategy and the game plan you have laid out, then you implement it. You put it into action. And after you put it into action, you step back and you look and you observe. And you say, what worked, what didn't, how did I learn, how did I grow? You want to do that on a regular basis, the observing. Every quarter, I think every week you should observe what's working, what didn't work in the week. But we'll be doing this today, looking at observing the year 2021. We do the same process with our team at RealWealth. We step back and we look at our annual retreat. We get everyone together and we look at what worked, what didn't work, how do we grow, what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses. We're going to do the same thing today. And Kathy and I do this with our family. We've done this for the 25 years we've been married, and with our daughters, ever since they were born, we would kind of take them through this process, and it's become a family ritual for us. So the same thing. We apply the same thing to our lives, and we have seen the benefit of it firsthand. So what about you? Why do a year-end completion? Why do this? I mean, I'm stoked that you're here. It's really great. There's a lot of people who, will just ignore this webinar and put it off, but you're here because you obviously want to grow. You want to be a more focused investor. So why do the year-end completion? It allows you to pause and reflect, to slow down for a moment and take this next 45 minutes to look at your life, to reflect on what worked and what didn't work. Also, we're going to go over this today. You're going to learn how to be happier, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. And each year you become a little better. And when we get better, everything around us gets better, right? So this is what all is going to happen today. These are the big 3 reasons to do your year-end completion. And it comes back to that. What you focus on becomes your reality. So whatever reality you want in the future, whatever you've been focusing on in the last several years, in this last year, has become your reality today. So we're going to really step back and take a look at what have you been focusing on? What do you want to focus on? So you can have the reality that you want. I talked about this making you happier. Stepping back and looking at what worked in your year, and it gives you a rush of dopamine. Dopamine, that neurotransmitter that makes us feel good, that gives us a high, that makes us positive, that makes us happier. So you are going to get a dose of that today. You're going to get a dopamine dose, because we have this negativity bias as human beings. For years, for the last 50,000 years that we've evolved, we were looking out for dangers. And that's what our brain has evolved and trained to do, looking out for problems, looking out for dangers, looking out for something that's going to hurt us. Way back when. And today we don't have those same dangers as much. There's still negative things in our lives, but there's a lot more positive, and we don't have those, something that's trying to come out of the woods and kill us as much as it used to. So what happens to our brains though, is we have this negativity bias where we can't help it. we look for problems, we look for what's wrong, and it's easy to get sucked into that trap of looking for what's wrong, looking for problems. So today we're going to step back, and we're also going to look at the good stuff. And this is why on a regular basis, you hear people say, it's good to write down 3 things you're grateful for, or meditate on what you're for gratitude and what you're grateful for, because we are living in this negativity bias. We have to actually exercise this part of our brain and actually change our brain to start focusing on the positive. It's neuroplasticity. It's this belief that, not even a belief, it's science, that they found out. They used to think that our brains were stagnant, they were stuck, and at a certain age, our brains could learn all they could learn, and they would just be the way they were. But the truth is, neuroplasticity means that we can actually change our brain. The more that we fire certain thoughts in our brains, and a neuron sends a message to another neuron and lays down what's called myelin, it makes a stronger connection from neuron to neuron. And what that does, if you're thinking positive things, looking at what you're grateful for, so many things, even if you're saying, I'm interested in real estate investing, and you say, I want to, learn everything I can about that, your reticular activating system in your brain is going to look for things about real estate investing. If you're looking about anything, it's the same thing. So today we're going to really focus on that gratefulness piece, really look at what worked in your year, and that is going to also practice that part of our brain, deliberate practice, where those neurons that fire together wire together. That's Hebb's law. Hebb's law says that neurons that fire together wire together. So you actually can change your whole neural makeup in your brain and think a different way, the way you want to be thinking. So with that, let's move into it. Let's move into 2021, looking back on your year. So get ready to take some notes here, and let's start with this. Looking back at 2021, what was the best thing that happened in your life? Think about that. What was the best thing that happened in your life in 2021? There's that dopamine dose, like, ooh, it feels good, doesn't it? So write that down. And what else happened in your life this past year? What else happened in 2021 for which you are most grateful? So you got that big one. I just wanted to see what came to mind first. But what other things happened in this past year where you moved ahead, you had some successes, some wins, met someone new, created more real wealth? Go ahead and write that down. What else happened in 2021 for which you are most grateful? What successes and wins did you experience? And the cool thing about this is, at the end of today, at the end of this 45 minutes, you're going to have this page or a couple pages of notes that is your bookend for the year. So like I said, we do this with our family. Kathy and I do this with our family every year. We can go back to 2005 and see what was going on, what were the big successes and wins and learnings and all the other stuff I'm going to ask you today. We can go back to last year. I often do that. I'll go back last year or the year before and be like, oh, I remember that year. It's so easy to let it slip away. So you're going to have this all captured for you. All right, now let's look at wealth, real wealth. So how did you improve your wealth this year? If you've been a member at Real Wealth for a while, I'm sure you've been taking steps to create more real wealth, ways to have more money, financial freedom, to live life on your own terms, to have more time in your life. So how did you improve your wealth this year? Write that down. And also give some thought to how about your financial freedom? How did you improve that? So let's talk about financial freedom, because we're all at different places with this, with financial freedom. And I think that's why a lot of us are here, why we're part of this network. Kathy and I invest with you guys the same way, with the same property teams and in the same group investments and syndications. So, getting to financial freedom, it happens in 4 stages. And it usually happens by investing in assets that, bring you positive cash flow and financial returns. So often when people start, they are, number 1, cash flow negative. These are the 4 stages of financial freedom. So a lot of people start cash flow negative, right? Not making enough to make ends meet. And then you get to cash flow neutral. That's where you're making enough money, whether it be from your career, your job, and or your investments. Then you continue to make more money and you continue to invest in assets, and that brings cash flow positive. Your assets start to generate positive cash flow, and then you get to stage 4, which is financial freedom. Being able to be job optional, to live life on your own terms, to have enough cash flow from your investments that you don't have to work. You only work because you want to, and you do what you love. So those are the 4 stages of financial freedom. So that's why I was asking you about that. How did you move toward financial freedom this past year? And I wanted you to write that down, please. And where are you in this? Are you at phase 1, 2, 3, or 4? Okay. Okay, so moving on from that, who helped you this last year? A lot of times we don't even see that, we don't think about it, or someone helps us and we just move on. So give that to that for you. Who really gave to you this past year or helped you? Go ahead and write their name down. Maybe it's a couple people. Okay. And now think about that person or those people, and what can you do to thank them? And I'm sure you've helped some people this past year. You probably want to think about that as well. And you'd probably love to be acknowledged by them and thanked by them and know that they're grateful for it. I'm going to flip that around for you. Who helped you this year, and how can you thank, and how will you thank those people or that person? Okay. Let's talk about rituals now. Rituals, those things that you put in place, those important habits, whatever you want to call them, habits or rituals, whatever you want. People don't want to accept the fact that their lives are a direct reflection of their habits. But the bottom line is it's vital to take 100% responsibility for your life, because excuses won't solve anything. Okay, so let's think about the helpful rituals or habits that you put into place this year. Go ahead and write those down. If you attended the Focused Investor Part 1 back in January of 2021, when we talked about putting rituals in place, maybe you really put those in place. Do you remember what you wrote down? What was your intention? Or did you have New Year's resolution saying, I'm going to put this habit in place this year? How'd that go? Did you stick to it? So what helpful rituals or habits did you develop this year? And then looking back, what habits did you shed? What are those bad habits that you got rid of? Go ahead and write that down. Did you quit smoking or smoke less? Did you get off the addiction of your phone, electronic screen addiction? Stop picking your nose. Eat better, change your eating habits, whatever it is. What habit did you shed this past year? And again, this is learning, looking back, looking at what worked. And if you didn't, you can carry that forward into this year saying, okay, next year, this is the habit that I'm gonna break this year, I'm gonna shed. Okay, hopefully you've got some things written down there. Nice work. Because here's the power of habits. It's like, I heard this guy saying something about, if you want an easy life, do hard things. If you want a hard life, do the easy things. I think it was just genius, So sometimes it's not always easy to create a new habit or create a new ritual or stick to it. But the bottom line, here it is, the power of habits. Your wealth is a direct reflection of your daily habits. Your body weight is a direct reflection of your daily habits. Your mood is a reflection of your daily habits, right? Comes back to what we talked about earlier. What you pay attention to becomes your life. It's the bottom line. The small stuff adds up to be the big stuff. Okay, so just carrying that forward, when we do the Focus Investor Part 2, we're going to be talking about habits and putting those rituals in place for 2022. And also we're going to talk about the power of habits and how they actually work, how they change our neural makeup and how we can become more disciplined, more full of joy, all this great stuff. So we'll talk about that, but that's not till next time. Okay, let's continue to look back on your year, 2021. What was the theme of your year? What was the theme of this past year for you? So another way to look at this is if they were to make a movie about your life in the year 2021, this whole year, if they were to make a movie about it, what would the title be? Or if you were going to write a book about your year, 2021, what would the title be? So go ahead and write down what was the theme for your year in 2021. And if you had attended Focused Investor back in January, I asked you to come up with a theme for what you wanted the theme to be for 2021. So if you did that workshop, you have those notes in front of you, or you can remember it, and maybe it is actually what happened. Maybe think about what was that theme that you set out to achieve. What did you want the theme to be for 2021? Maybe even going back to January and New Year's when you said this year is going to be about this. And so what was the actual theme of your 2021? Sometimes it changes, sometimes it's the same. Hopefully you have that written down. Let's talk about dealing with challenges now. So we looked at all this good stuff, looking back, what worked and what were those big wins. So what about challenges? I love this one, failure. Sometimes you just don't have an excuse. However, I think this is a great one from Niels Bohr at a Nobel Prize in Physics back in 1922. He said, an expert is someone who has made all the mistakes which can be made in a narrow field. So yeah, we have some failures, we have some mistakes. I definitely had some mistakes this past year. I definitely had some screw ups for sure. And hopefully I've learned from those. I think I have. And even in relationships, I've had some mistakes this last year, and in investing, made some mistakes, made some less mistakes, which is awesome, but definitely made some mistakes and learned from those. So just one way to frame it, looking back, and I've heard some people say they're mistakes. It's like take one, missed that one, take two, so you can try again, but then you become an expert over time by learning from it. So that's exactly it. So looking back for you, what were your biggest challenges or mistakes or whatever they might be? What were those biggest challenges in 2021 that you dealt with? Go ahead and write that down. What were your biggest challenges in 2021? Okay, and I know I'm moving quickly here, but you can always come back. This replay will be available on our website, on YouTube, so you can always go through this again, and you can add to this, but maybe even write down what were your biggest challenges, or what were my biggest challenges in 2021 if you want to remember this one, if you want to continue. And then here's the big one. What did you learn from those challenges? So maybe next to each challenge, or the big challenge there for the year, what did you learn from that? They say every curse has a blessing in it. Every blessing can have a curse in it, right? So what were the blessings in the quote curse, or the challenge that you experienced in 2021? What did you learn? And maybe give some thought to what can you do differently? What could have you done differently that you could carry into this next year? Now let's take a look at that personal quality that you most developed this past year. So how did you grow? How did you grow? Earlier I said when we get better, everything around us gets better. So it's as you get better, everything around you gets better. It's the best way to move forward. So what was that personal quality that you most developed in yourself this past year? And here's some examples down there. You can see, did you develop more courage? Did you work on your authenticity, being more authentic? Did you really improve your integrity? Did you become a kinder person? Did you become more bold, speaking up for what you believe in, being a bolder person? Did you improve your self-discipline? You develop grace under pressure, stay calm, stay grounded? Did you develop your humor? So what was it for you? What personal quality did you most develop last year? And maybe give some thought too. Again, this is a question I ask in Focus Investor Part 2, Creating Your Year. What do you set out to do? Back in January, I asked you, what personal quality will you develop this year? What personal quality do you most want to develop this year? And if you did that workshop, you wrote something down, and that was your intention for the year, to focus on that one personal quality to make it better and better. So if you did do that, how did it go? Do you remember it? Did you work on it? I'm assuming that you did work on it. You looked at it each week, and now whatever that personal quality is more developed. Okay, cool. So nice work. Whatever personal quality you developed this last year, congratulations, nice work. You can carry that learning into 2022. In this description of this, you probably saw I'm going to share a simple 4-step process for determining your strengths, abilities, and next steps. And here it is. It's a really simple process. It's called SWOT. If you've been in business for a while, or you run a business, or you're an executive in a business, or anything like this, you're probably familiar with SWOT. It's a SWOT analysis. You can do this on yourself. You can do it on your business. You can do it on an organization. You can even do it with your family. It stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So write that one down. This is your SWOT analysis on you. So think about that. And this is one of the things we do with our team at RealWealth. We go around the room, everyone shares, and we say, what are our greatest strengths at RealWealth? And what are our weaknesses? And what are our opportunities? And what threats do we have for us? So what about for you? What are your greatest strengths? What stands out? Like those top few strengths that make you who you are. Okay, obviously you want to keep those developed, keep them going. And then what about your weaknesses? Where do you see your weaknesses? What are your underdeveloped qualities? And of course, with a weakness, you can work on the weakness and make it stronger, or you can do the Dan Sullivan approach and do who, not how. So if you're weak in something, instead of saying, how can I do this? You can say, who can do it? Who's got a greater strength than I do? Who has a unique ability in this area that can help me with this? And that applies in real estate investing big time, looking at who, not how. It's like, I'm not a great property manager, so I look for someone who can manage our properties and do it a lot better than I am. So that's a way to look at the who, not how. So hopefully you have some weaknesses written down there. Hopefully not too many of them. Don't beat yourself up, but it's what you want to work on and strengthen that underdeveloped quality, and or who you want to get to support you in that, who you could delegate to and get some support. And then what opportunities do you have looking forward? What opportunities do you have looking forward into this next year? Just starting to give some thought to 2022. What are you excited about? What opportunities are there? How can you move ahead? And then the last one is your threats. Is there anything you got to look out for? What do you have to be aware of? And again, it's just this reflecting, it's looking back, it's taking that time, that thinking time, that pondering time that we so often don't take the time to do, or we don't think we have the time to do it. You're doing it now. So looking at your SWOT analysis, analyzing your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats, sometimes a big aha can come from that process. In one of those areas or all of them, you're like, oh, I didn't even thought of that. Okay, so nice work on that. Again, you can continue on this later. You can flesh it out, look for some more, look for opportunities, look for potential obstacles or threats, and you'll be more prepared as you go into this next year. And now let's talk about completion, wrapping up your year, your book ending 2021. Wrapping up this year, we have a few more weeks left in the year. So what do you need to take care of to feel complete with this year? Do you have some tax planning that needs to be done? Do you need to make some charitable donations? Do you need to prepay any expenses? Where are you financially, especially, reviewing your portfolio? Where are you? And are you going to get hit with a big tax bill? If so, do some strategic planning and think about what things can you prepay now. But anyway, talk to your CPA about that and get some advice on that. To just know where you are now. You've got 3 weeks to prepare before the end of the year. So take the time to do that. Don't wait until December, January 1st and go, oh crap, too late. Okay. And then, that's the financial side of it. What about cleaning up some messes? An honest conversation with someone. Is there a relationship that you've had some conflict in that you need to clean that up? You want to, resolve that. Something you need to take ownership in and apologize. Put your ego aside and just say, hey, let's talk about this. I want to own my part. So this is about wrapping up your year, about getting completion, feeling truly complete so you can move into 2022 without any baggage, without any mental baggage, without any physical baggage. You need to clean some stuff up. Do you have something that needs to be organized before the end of the year so you can hit the ground running, with a smile on your face? And then this is still that same completion process. What is it that you would like to let go of, or what do you need to let go of really as you move into 2022? What do you need to let go of? What are you holding on to that makes your jaw clench a little bit, makes your fists tighten up, makes you furrow your brow? Is there anything? It makes your heart hurt. Anything from this year that you need to let go of? And you can do this in a ritual. I took my coaching clients through this for years, and we would do a year-end completion together. And so I've seen the power of it, and I've seen it in my own life. And I'm far from having this figured out. I'm obsessed with this stuff because it's helped me so much. I was such a challenged kid with I was diagnosed as hyperkinetic, which is today they call ADHD. I was always getting D's and F's in school. Didn't even graduate high school with my class. I had to go back to summer school. Really, really tough, just thought I was an idiot. And then I started to learn some of these tools for being focused, being more aware, to grow and develop myself, to grow a business. And, it's really, really helped me. So a lot of the stuff I'm sharing here and a lot of the stuff that I'm obsessed with is because it's helped me so much and I've seen it help my clients so much. And like I said, it's still challenging. I'm far from got this figured out. I had set this goal to be 198 pounds by the end of the year. And guess where I'm at? 206. I don't think I'm going to make that goal. It's like, and why? I can look at the excuses, spending a week at mom's house and, going back to little boy mode in my eating and everything like that. So and I also know that this stuff can really, really work for focusing and being on track. And, it's helped Kathy and me build a business that has made the Inc. 5,000 lists 3 years in a row and have an amazing team of employees and help people, acquire over $1 billion in assets. It's just so cool. So I know this stuff works. I know it's also challenging. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there to you. Okay, so what would you like to let go of as you move into 2022? And you can do a ritual with this. You can write it down on a piece of paper, really take a look at it and say, I'm letting go of this. And you might want to think, what do I need to do to let go of this? Maybe it's just that. You can write it down on a piece of paper, you rip it up, or you burn it, or you put it on your pillow and you punch the crap out of it, whatever it is, but do something to let that stuff go and do what you need to do to let stuff go so you can move into 2022 with a clean slate and a lot of joy and a lot of energy. And this is tied into that same thing. So is there anything else you need to feel complete with 2021? Maybe it's letting go of something. Maybe it's doing something, getting something done. Maybe it's finally cleaning your car out. Maybe it's organizing your garage. Maybe it is pulling the trigger and buying that investment property. Maybe it's your first investment property. Maybe it's getting all your finances all laid out and getting your spending plan in place and creating your net worth statement and everything. I've heard so many different things from RealWealth members over the years. And, it's that what we do with that little 3-pound organ within our skulls, that brain, that's composed of 100 billion neurons and 100 trillion synapses. It's this amazing thing. So it's an amazing supercomputer, but we can either improve it or we can waste it. It's all up to us. So that's what this is all about. It's really trying to get that brain of yours at its optimal, operating the best way. So letting go of stuff and having completion is an important way to do that. Okay, so hopefully you've got some things down for your wrapping up the year. And then it's about moving ahead. So, I want to acknowledge you. Nice work. I'm glad you're here today. And I'm really happy that you got this stuff down. Again, continue with this and then take these ideas and put them into action. Thank you, Helen Keller. Ideas without action are useless, right? So let's look at moving ahead. What you are is what you have been. What you'll be is what you do now. So looking back at your strengths and your greatness and what you accomplished this year, let's carry that forward with us. All that other crap that's holding us back, that gremlin in your brain, that or all those voices, that itty bitty shitty committee in your head that tells you you're not enough or you can't do these things or anything like that. Let's just push that aside and be like, okay, thanks, don't need that anymore. I'm moving ahead. So 2022, I want you to start giving some thought to 2022. Once you wrap up your year and you complete this process, you might want to invest another half hour, another hour into the process that we just went through to really end that year strong and with awareness and clarity. And then start thinking about 2022. What are you excited about? What are the big goals that you want to accomplish? How do you want to create more real wealth in 2022 and beyond? And we'll be discussing that on December 30th on a webinar for the Focused Investor, not completing your 2021, but creating your 2022. Leonardo da Vinci said, learning never exhausts the mind. So let's keep our energy high and let's fill our brains and make our brains even better. I want to share these resources. You might be aware of them. Real Wealth Show is Kathy's podcast that you can listen to, and she interviews experts and other investors, and Kathy and I interview people about real wealth stories. Amazing to see what people have done over the years, and yes, even over this last year, what our members have done as far as creating real wealth and living life on their own terms. Real Estate News for Investors is our other podcast. If you're not aware of that one, it's also a great one. It comes out usually 4 or 5 days a week, and it's all the news that comes out that's related to you as a real estate investor, things you need to know. Kathy's book, Retire Rich with Rentals, you've probably read it. There's been so many copies bought of that, and so many people have read that. But if you're not aware of that, it's a great book that kind of gives you the nuts and bolts of investing with rental properties so you can retire rich or even become job optional. And I have a little announcement here. In addition to our website that has a lot of, I thought this was the next slide, that's funny. In addition to the website that has a Learn Center with so many different articles and webinars, I think we've produced over 800 webinars now, free webinars, all about real estate investing and financial management, tax planning and all that, and also about wealth mindset. There's so much learning on our website. So it's all free, obviously, you know that. And my announcement here, I was talking about books, is over the last year, I've been working on my second book. My first book came out 20 years ago, way back in 2002, and been running this business and learning a lot, I hope, over the last 20 years, running Real Wealth and learning from real wealth investors and all that. And so I have a new book coming out, and it's going to be in all bookstores in early 2022. It's called The Wise Investor, and it's a modern parable about creating financial freedom and living your best life. So you'll be hearing more about that, I'm sure, in the new year. I'll let you know when it comes out. I'm super excited about it. I had over 20 beta readers go through it and give me feedback and got some really good reviews. So I was really, really happy with the story. It's obviously a parable, but from parables, we can learn so much. But I was super happy with the feedback that everyone gave me, and I'm really happy with this story. So I hope you will enjoy it too. All right, I hope to see you on our next webinar. Like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be December 30th at 12 noon Pacific, creating your 2022 and beyond. Thanks everyone for being here today. Looking forward to seeing you on December 30th, and I wish you the best in 2022. All right, thanks for being here. Bye.